Hey guys, Crypto Jim here. Today's video is just going to be on what's happened in the last 24 hours in the whole cryptocurrency space and where I think it's going to go in the next couple of days to weeks, just leading into this whole futures thing with the CBOE and CME. So first up, here's the last 24 hours for every cryptocurrency. As you can see, Bitcoin went up 18%. Everything else is in the green, but take in mind if you are looking at your altcoins as well, because Bitcoin's risen so high, actually everything else is, except for Bitcoin Gold and probably BitConnect, everything else is still going down, so your money's best held in Bitcoin at the moment. That's purely over the last 24 hours though. If we look at the rest of the week, as you can see, stuff like IOTA has really taken off. Litecoin as well, especially. So Bitcoin's not the be-all and end-all, but you probably should have a majority of money or the majority of your investment in Bitcoin, as it is the highest market cap, and everything gets compared to either Bitcoin or Ethereum. But as a lot of you may have noticed, over the last 24 hours to 2 days, we saw this massive peak up. We hit $450 billion market cap. That was on the 8th of December. So Friday night, and then the weekend came along, started to drop off a bit, picked up, and then we actually lost nearly 190 billion US dollars from the market cap over between Friday and Sunday. So that's why we saw that massive price drop in basically everything. If you were looking at it yesterday, it was just a sea of red. Like you were down 15% on everything you owned. I've got about 25,000 Australian dollars in cryptocurrency, and I lost probably $3,000 of that over the weekend. But as you can see, it's picked up now. I'm pretty sure the CBOE futures are actually already started. They start Sunday night, Sunday evening, American time, and the CME futures start on the 18th, I believe, but don't quote me on that. But I'm pretty confident in Bitcoin at the moment, especially with this CME. It's going to bring mainstream and traditional investors in, as mainstream traditional like stock market investors tend to go with the more regulated exchanges, and as you know, cryptocurrency isn't the most regulated space at the moment. But with the commencement of futures trading, it'll bring in a lot more kind of hardcore, traditional, professional investors rather than not cypherpunks as they used to call them, but just people who are aware to the crypto space. Now, just looking at this as well, this is the last wave that I predicted probably 2 weeks ago. I had the start of the wave down here at about the 12th of November, and then it rose up to a peak at about 11.3 on the 30th of November, and then I did predict it would come down to at least the 38. It didn't quite get there on the first attempt, and then it got there on the second attempt. I had my buy orders in around here, as I'll let you guys know. I did kind of expect it to come down to the 50 and potentially down to the 60 as well, as it hit that $10,000 mark, but as you can see, it didn't. But again, my recommendation to myself, because this is not investment advice, this is just a guy talking on the internet, I did say have some buy orders in around 38, and then around 50, and then around 60. But as you can see, it broke up through that, and I did say that if it did break this 11.4, because I did a Fibonacci extension on it, if it got to about 11.6, I would have put my buy orders in again, which is exactly what happened here basically. So 11.6, I was confident to enter the market. I think there was some bad news out of England just about regulation of Bitcoin, which was this price drop here, but entered fully into the market 11.6 because I was confident that that was the retracement we were all looking for. And then, as you can see, it hit kind of 12 or 11.9 and then shot up to 16.5, and then obviously things that go up must come down, so do another retracement on that, and we see straight up dive straight to the 38 once it peaked, and nearly, well, it did hit the 50 there as well, and now we're on the way up. So I'm confident to enter Bitcoin. That like the perfect time to enter would have been yesterday, but I didn't get around to making a video then. But I do believe it's on the way up, especially with the whole CME and CBOE futures. It's just going to bring stabilization to the market, and I think this whole concern or FUD with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, just hold your coins. Cryptocurrency is really going to take off in 2018, even now really, just because of the adoption and the actual use cases are increasing. Applications for different platforms are increasing, and I honestly believe that blockchain and cryptocurrency are the future as well. Now, one thing I want to say as well, everyone talks about, oh, is Bitcoin a bubble, and yeah, is Bitcoin a bubble? When's it going to pop? Oh, this is just like the .com bubble or the Nasdaq Nikkei 225 bubble, Japanese asset bubble. Well, yeah, okay, I do agree. Bitcoin at the moment is in a bit of a bubble, and I haven't actually got the charts up, but the .com bubble was about, well, I've read different figures, but it was roughly $3 trillion. Now, as you can see, we are at 400 billion, so we are still really at the start of that bubble. And for those of you who don't know, the .com bubble was when kind of the internet first started and initial public offerings came out for websites and companies that did stuff on the internet, and people absolutely chewed them up and threw all their money at them. And you know, it was great for the people who bought in early, which I'm going to say is us. We're the early majority of cryptocurrency adopters. But you know, it did pop back in 2000, I think, and everything started crashing down. Except if you were to compare what happened in 2000 and the price of it to where it is right now, we are still above the all-time high of that bubble. So you probably will see cryptocurrencies just rise up exponentially. I'd be safe to say we would get to $1 trillion at least before we started to see a proper pop. Because at the moment, I believe people are jumping onto crypto because they think it's going to be the best thing since sliced bread. It's going to change the world, and it may do, but it may not do that for 15 or 20 years. So everyone's going to pour their money in. It's going to get to $1 trillion at least, and then, you know, in a year or two's time, cryptocurrency hasn't really become anything. It's still in the development stages. People start to lose faith, take their profits. Say we drop back down to 500 billion or 400 or 300 billion for the next couple of years after that, and then say 2021, 2022, we start to see the general slow rise because stuff like IOTA, stuff like Cardano and Neo have actually become something useful in the real world. But anyway, I don't want to dabble on too much, guys. That's my opinion of Bitcoin. Basically, get into the market. Perfect time to buy was yesterday. Fortunately, I didn't get around to telling you guys that. But, you know, if you compare this graph here to this graph here that we were looking at not even 2 weeks ago, we're here at the moment. We're, you know, and to put it in perspective, you look at this and you go, oh, it's really high. You know, I don't think I want to buy high, but you know, there probably won't be another dip after this one. And now that huge rise we had in the end of November, you know, that's tiny compared to the price action we've got now. So you know, in the next month or 2 months, we could see this price rise and be like, oh, you know, remember when it was under $20,000? Oh, I can't believe I got in. But yeah, guys, just get into the market. That's what I reckon. That's what I'm doing anyway. Thanks for listening, guys. Please leave a comment if you have anything to add. I usually get around to replying to them. And a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you hated what I was talking about. And make sure you subscribe. Thanks very much, guys.